Hello! So now we're going to work on some downward facing dog. This is a big thing that a lot of my students can work on at home to help improve their pose. It's such a crucial pose. It has so many benefits. It's good for the back, the shoulders, all the way down. We're strengthening the wrists, we're stretching the hamstrings, the quads. I could go on and on and on, but let's just get to it and start working on it. So we did the warm-up for the shoulders, the upper back, the bolster. Those kind of things are great preps for downward facing dog. So to get started, we'll have our hands hips width apart, shoulder width apart. Our fingers are spread really wide and try and press more so into the pointer finger because there's a tendency to roll the weight out to the sides of the wrist. So really think about pressing through all of the fingers. And then rotate. The action of broadening the shoulders is all about rotating the fleshy part of the elbows away from the body. So if you can see, so this is not very good posture, but if you want to broaden the shoulders, what you want to do is think about pressing those fleshy part of the elbows away from the body. So that's what we're doing when we're prepping for downward facing dog. We're opening up the shoulders. And now let's just start to open up the hips, to get into the hips. Just roll around, first on the knees. Just start to really work into the hips, pressing it back into child's pose, pressing into the toes. We're stretching and opening the toes. Good, really opening up the shoulders, building up strength in our arms. Good, and then lift up, lift the knees from the ground, and just really sway side to side a little bit, still loosening up the hips. Good, and then when you're ready to fully extend into downward facing dog, we're going to press our heels back down as close to the mat as we can. And then we're pressing our thighs back so that our legs are straight. If our back is really, really tight and you feel like you're really arching the spine, it's hard to push back between your arms, try bending the knees. That'll help if your lower back is really tight. So that should help you get a little bit further back. And then once your knees are bent and your back is straight, then start to straighten your legs. Release the neck. Make sure that you're not holding the neck up here. Release the neck down. Good, so we're extending through the arms, but we're grounding into our shoulder sockets as we press our thighs back. Good, and now just release for a moment in child's pose. Take a breath, relax the shoulders. Good, and then bring the arms back out. Another good stretch for the shoulders is from child's pose. Just drop the elbows down to the mat. Bend the elbows so that the palms come down to the tops of our shoulders. And then from here, start to walk the elbows away from the body. This is a great stretch for the shoulders. You want to make sure that the elbows are still in line with the sides of the body. It's easy to let the elbows come out to the side, but that's not going to be a very even stretch for the shoulders. You want to make sure that the elbows are still facing the front of your mat. And then we'll come back down. Stretch the arms out in front of you. Curl the toes under. And lift up for downward facing dog again. If you'd like to try differences in the width of your stance, you may find that a wider stance allows you to move into the pose a little bit more. But you really want to think about reaching your chest forward. Good. And then step or hop your feet forward for a forward fold. Place your hands on your hips and lift your chest just to flat back. So it may be helpful here to use a mirror to actually find where your flat back is. You can take your hand. If you feel your spine curving up, really help push. Feel like you're reaching your chest forward. You can bring your arms straight out in front of you. Feel that straight line of energy all the way through your torso. Good. And slowly come back up. Another thing that we can do to work on our downward facing dog is to come up to the wall. So straight up on the wall with our fingertips resting on the wall. Slowly start to walk the feet back away from the wall and bring the arms down until you come into flat back. So it's easy for some people it's easy to release the ribs down. You want to make sure that the ribs still stay lifted, but that we're lifting our tailbone, the tailbone right here. Feel it lifting, but also feel the abdomen engaged. Good. Again, feel like you're reaching your chest forward towards the wall. And release the neck. And slowly walk back to the wall. So those are some things to think about for downward facing dog. It is a very challenging pose, but with a lot of practice, your back will start to loosen up. You'll start to feel the chest lifting forward as the heels come back down to the ground. So good luck. Keep up the practice with downward facing dog. It's a great pose.